Under the 4 steps of software engineering, the first we mentioned was understanding the problem. It is the core component for successfully solving any problem, because if we do not understand the problem, we cannot successfully solve it. It is very easy for a person to assume that they understand the problem, what is needed, but that is a false belief in many cases. It's better to ask a series of questions to make sure you understand that real problem. Otherwise, you risk going off on a path that's not the correct path. Sometimes you'll hear about people call about going down a rabbit hole, and it just seems to go on and on forever, and before you know it, you're nowhere near where you need to be. So think about some of these types of questions, and as you get more experience, you're going to come up with some of your own questions. First, ask, who's the stakeholders? Number 2, ask, what are the unknowns? In fact, I generally assume that there are 2 types of unknowns. The known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. And you might go, well, wait a second, how can you have a known unknown? Well, maybe you're developing an engineering application and you know that you don't know the formula for this type of system. Well, you can talk to a SME, a subject matter expert. We call them SMEs. And they can give you information that you don't know. The more dangerous thing, and the thing where a lot of good questions have to come out, is in knowing the unknowns. What don't you know that you don't know? This can be very challenging because you can assume you know everything, but if you don't ask good probing questions, you'll never uncover those unknown unknowns. However, with good questions, with good communication with your customer, with the process of an experience of digging deeper and deeper, you'll uncover many of these unknown unknowns, and then they become known unknowns that you have answers to. The next question is, can it be compartmentalized? Can it be graphically represented? These are all things that are very important. How can we describe and show this problem? One of the things that we're going to do is need to verify that we understand the problem and therefore are working towards the right way. So these are some things that we're going to do. A principle is an underlying law or assumption required in a system of thought. Well, what principles are there for these upcoming projects? Now, one of the key principles that you have to understand no matter what the project is that you're working on is you have to understand why that software exists. If you don't understand the why the software exists, then you'll never meet the requirements. The why is simply to bring value to the user. What type of value is it? That's the thing you have to uncover. It could be quite simple, or it could be very complex. It might be helping to pick stocks or make management decisions, or maybe it's just a casual game designed to give you a little dopamine hit to make your life a little happier for just those couple of minutes that you're playing. If we don't understand what it is we're trying to do, we are going to be guaranteed to fail. And it doesn't matter what it is that we're doing. Under the process framework, this is where the communication comes into play. We must be willing and able to ask questions to get a good understanding of the underlying problem. In future modules, we're going to look deeper at this communication idea and figure out different ways that we can help us to communicate effectively with our end customer or end clients to make sure our software is going to be successful.